Let's get into our player spotlights presented by Zillow. Someday starts today. Big Tones, you mentioned him, Yunus Musah. I feel like we have to highlight him because he's now had this impact. When you have these types of performances and you're making the most of these opportunities like he has been lately with Atalanta, your coaching staff for the national team has to sit up and be like, all right, okay, what else? You know, and I feel like the what else for Yunus Musah is, can he get into the starting 11 and get trusted on a more regular basis where he can start to have more of an impact over a longer period of time? But still, 2 goals in the last 49 minutes is pretty special.
Yeah, it's special for him for sure. In 2 different games, especially Coppa Italia, the draw at the end. I don't know about you. I feel like Yunus Musah is off the radar for Mauricio Pochettino and his staff right now. Like I don't know. It's been like he's really playing catch up right now for me. And
what does he have to do then? What do you think he has to do if you were advising him? Obviously, getting into the team. That's
he's not even starting yet.
I know. Okay. Let's say like he's doing some things now that would warrant. Okay, maybe we should get this guy some more minutes. So what I'm saying is, what do you want to see from him tactically that could unsit? And you asked this to Phil earlier about Johnny Cardoso. It's the same question.
Well,
what do you have to see from him to be like, oh crap, he has to be in the team?
You got to see the Yunus Musah of old, and I think first his biggest problem is Johnny Cardoso. Right? What's it now? 4 games in a row, and now he's going to play potentially in a final, which Yunus could play in a final, but they're depending more on Johnny Cardoso. So if you look at both of them, right, 2 different profile of players, but I think equally as effective in what they do when they're playing well. Who right now? Let's just assume for 1 minute that those are the 2 guys that you have to choose from. Like, okay, I'm going to take another number 6. Plays a little bit deeper in the middle of the field. Not a goal scorer per se, although he's got 2 goals here, so we see he's got the ability. But I've got one spot to take those 2 guys because I think that's what it comes down to with those 2 guys.
Yeah, that's a
right now. By the way, I don't see either of them as a 6 though, Tones. Like as a proper 6,
What do you want to make him an 8 next to Tyler? They're going to be next to Tyler Adams.
Okay.
But that means they got to play higher up the field. I don't see him either of them playing higher up the field. Yunus maybe a little bit more than Johnny Cardoso. So they're playing next to Tyler. So call it a 6 and an 8 or call it 2 6s. For me, they're still deeper in this formation for Pochettino. But at this point, who are you going to trust more? If you just had to blindly say, okay, I have to take one of those 2 guys, right? You're going to blindly trust, I think, Johnny Cardoso right now.
Wait. Let me just throw this in there. This is just a wrinkle. And trust me, I might be one of the harshest critics on Yunus Musah because of what his potential and ceiling is. So I'm always comparing him to what he can be and not. He's playing at Atalanta.
That's scary. Remember, he played a scary tactic.
Right, but he played in a World Cup already.
I get it.
And was successful. Okay, so the experience there. Okay, that's 1. 2, he gives you more going forward. Johnny Cardoso has been below average with the U.S.
What does Yunus give you going forward? He's got 1 national team goal, I think. What does he give you?
He gives you more than Johnny going forward. That's all I'm saying.
But does he give you enough to put him in one of those positions?
I actually think Johnny can make the final pass a little bit better than Yunus, man. Yunus can.
I don't know.
It's debatable, but I can tell you right now, when Yunus is on the ball, there's not even it's like Everest to
he's
Mount
definitely
Washington.
more dynamic than Johnny. For me, Johnny hasn't played well for the U.S. and Yunus, like outside of playing right back in the Nations League where I thought he struggled,
he did.
Other than that, he's been relatively solid. Like I got not really much. I don't look at him and go that. When I look at Johnny, I'm like, he just hasn't like kicked on, and I feel like that would maybe get factored in.
And just watching him recently, Tones. If I'm just gonna be like, okay, super objective here. I watched Johnny Cardoso for Atletico Madrid in this last game against Barcelona, and I get it's Barcelona. It felt that he was underwater for most of the game. Not that they all were underwater.
I was going to say, was he or were they?
Maybe outside of Antoine Griezmann, who looked like the only player that was really in control. When he didn't look like he panicked, he always felt like he found a solution. But there was nothing there that I was trying to find. I jotted down every single action, every single movement that he had. And there were maybe like 2 really positive moments where he broke up a challenge. But in terms of him on the ball, I was like, I'm not seeing the translation from a guy on the outskirts who's at Atletico Madrid, but outskirts of the national team, taking that huge step forward to say he's got to be in the squad and he's got to play. Because I think there's a difference.
Well, that's a
between
different
him
conversation.
Yeah, I think getting into March, getting into the March camp, sure, but is he cemented into the team? I think nowhere near. And but going back to you, Tones, I think Musah is even far further off the radar, and it's not necessarily down to play. It's about the summer missing out.
I agree.
I think Pochettino feeling like he was betrayed a little bit. I think that's what it comes down to is you have an opportunity to come in to represent your country. You don't need a break physically because you didn't play that much anyways at Milan. And the World Cup is not a guarantee for you. So you need to show me you're committed to the country, and you ask for a break. I think that's what really.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to answer the question directly, I agree with what you guys are saying.
Yeah.
If I just had to answer it straight up, one or the other, I would go with Yunus. With all due respect to Johnny and his mustache.
But based on what though? Because he scored 2 goals in 49 minutes. Is that what we're basing it on?
No, I'm basing it on form with the national team.
You got somebody playing at that
World Cup experience. I get it. You can make a strong argument for that. And I never in a million years thought we would have an American starting regularly for Atletico Madrid. So that continues to blow my mind. Right. But yes, in terms of club form, but I'm just bringing the national team experience and performance level. Then
we got to take Gio Reyna 100%. We got to take Gio Reyna on the team 100%. No matter what he does at the club level, we got to take him because he's been great with the national team.
I get that. I was just answering your question directly between either or.
No.
For me, I don't think either one of these guys is going to get called into the March camp.
You don't think Johnny Cardoso is going to get called into the March camp?
I don't know. Yeah. Well, you got Tessman, you got Tyler's back healthy.
I think he's going to get a final look.
I think Berhalter will get in there. I think Roldan will be there. Like at some point, like if those are your guys and you want those guys to be in, because this is our last shot before the roster gets announced. If you already have made your mind up about Yunus Musah and Johnny Cardoso, then you've made up your mind. Like you just want to now start to build your team and the camaraderie within that team. I wouldn't be surprised if neither of those guys was on, but also a little bit surprised because Johnny starts regularly for Atletico. I mean, we're just talking in circles at this point. But all right,
it's an incredible debate, to be honest, because you got 2 players in Europe. One's playing at Atletico Madrid, kind of finally broke in. And the other one is finally starting to have some sort of impact. He's not starting, but he's scoring, the past 2 games for Atalanta. It feels like he's finally turned a corner at Atalanta in terms of at least getting trusted more. And the more you have an impact off the bench, the more opportunities to play and people are starting to see his quality there. But what does that mean for Pochettino? That's going to be the question.
I feel like
Remember, Pochettino spoke glowingly about Yunus when he first came into the team. Oh, I know him from the Arsenal days when I was in London. He's such a quality player. Was playing him in that right wing spot, remember? And we were kind of like, he's not a right winger. Then played him at right back in Nations League. Kind of set him up to fail.
Well, basically finding room for him in his team, right? I mean, that's respect. Like, right. I like this guy so much. I'm just going to find a spot for him on the field as opposed to playing maybe in his best position.
How the tides have turned.
Yes. Well, if you skip a summer, that's going to do it for you.